You see why the professors get fired up when we get around the students. They are a great encouragement to us. Very briefly, I want to ask somebody to come forward in just a moment who is a recent graduate of RPTS. I'm sometimes concerned that people are going to say, well, I understand that these students think they're getting what they need now, but they don't know what's going to hit them when they go out into the real world. Yesterday I was talking to a recent graduate who's a member of the President's Council, who's just been appointed to be the CEO of the Evangelical Church Alliance, which is a group that is comprised of about 2,500 pastors representing about 1.5 million people. And he will be moving next month with his wife to the Chicago area to undertake that. And he said something about his coursework at RPTS. And I said, if you're going to be there tomorrow night, would you just come and say that? Now we're running just a little bit behind on time, so this will be very brief, but I want you to hear from his mouth before you go on. Bob Turrill.
Thank you, Dr. Neal. Good evening. When Dr. Neal asked me yesterday if I would like to say something on behalf of the seminary and my experience, my education I received there, there's so much that could be said. But perhaps I would like to address this on maybe just 3 levels. The first is that I was mentored and trained on receiving a Master of Divinity under pastors. Oh, they're academics second to none. But everything that I learned from a pastoral perspective. There's a lot of things you remember that aren't exactly the coursework itself. For example, I always remember Dr. Robeson saying, when you're going up to preach, get the toys out of your pockets. And to this day, I think about that every time I stand up. Or Dr. Pruto saying, Pastor, what's your point? Whether it's just for preaching or any other activity of ministry, I remember those. It's because I observed them. I listened. And I encourage all those that are students here this evening, take advantage of the time that you have with them. Because there are lessons that are actually learned even outside the classroom. Conversations at lunchtime, anytime. Let them, as they have been called to be your mentors, mentor you. Now, there's also another level, and it's the curriculum itself. Now, I don't know about you, for those who have been students, but I had a preconceived notion when I began attending seminary. I remember when Dr. Stewart interviewed me, and eventually when I started going full-time, I knew what I was going to do. I was called to the field of evangelism, and evangelism would be. I did my internship. I made sure the pastor understood that. But along the way, the Lord started moving in my heart, and He transitioned me from the pastoral ministry to the mission field. Or from evangelism to the mission field, to the pastoral ministry, and then to establish an equipping center. And what I realized in the midst of all those transitions, that I was pulling from the foundation and base of knowledge that I had received from the curriculum of RPTS. If you would ask me to tell you what I knew, I probably couldn't have recited it. But when those circumstances arose, when you were confronted with those situations, on any given day, you could go from a heretical issue, a church discipline issue, to maybe someone on the verge of suicide. I realized that I had a strategic advantage over a lot of my ministry peers. As a matter of fact, among the ones I worked with, I became kind of the go-to guy, if you will. So how'd you know that? I said, well, I learned it. I was trained, I was mentored at the seminary. And interestingly enough, I found that I really have, to this point, and I can say after having been in ministry over 10 years now, I have drawn from every course that I've ever taken. Now that might not be today for you, it could be tomorrow, but I implore students to take everything that you learn there seriously. For the simple reason that as I had, with a preconceived notion in one particular dimension of ministry, who knows where it will lead. As President Elwood said, I just recently elected as President CEO of the Evangelical Church Alliance International. And of course, I am going to be administrating the financial affairs of the organization. It was founded in 1887 because of liberalism, and now we have pastors all over the world, from here to Uganda. And the more important dimension of that ministry will be a pastor to pastors. If you were to have asked me years ago when I was filling out my application, I wouldn't have had the slightest idea that that's what I've been doing today. So I would encourage you, those of you who are here tonight, to invest in this seminary, because you have no idea where the Lord might send these students. And students, let me tell you, that's His call. Just be open to His leading. Thank you.